Hello, this is Alex at IES, or Cyberschool as you guys probably know it. And in this video, I'll be going over the form creator. So to start, you'll see I'm in the administration panel. You don't really need to go here. I just feel like this is a good place to start. And so I'm actually going to hover over my name where I go to access the site config. But instead of clicking site config, I'm actually going to click this form creator here. And it takes me to this page, this online form creator. And so you'll see we have my forms, templates, and new form. And so my forms generally just shows you all the forms that you have created. Templates shows you some templates that we have available, including some like announcements. We have some for like a membership application, volunteer service and hours, contact us as well. So we have a bunch of different templates to choose from. But I'm actually going to actually create a new form and I'll discuss what each field means and how to actually create one. And so in this one, we'll just create like a simple, well, we can actually recreate the bully form. Okay, so this form description or notes is just a note to yourself and others if shared as a template. So it's nothing you write in here will actually be placed on the form. Okay, and as we move down, we see storage options. And by default, we have this stored to a dataset checked, which just means that every submission for this will actually be stored so that you can return, you can actually view all the submissions that have been made. Send to following email addresses denotes that this person will be sent an email whenever a form is submitted. So I'll just enter in my email there. Okay, so now whenever this is submitted, this email will receive an email that says, this form has been submitted, here's what was entered. Okay, and if you have multiple emails to enter in there, you're going to add a comma and to denote that a new email has begun. Okay, we also support PayPal payment handling, so just enable PayPal and then enter in your PayPal account email or the email that's associated with your PayPal account to actually link those up so that any money that is or any form of payment handling is sent to that PayPal. Okay, this option here is for administrator sign up. So if this is a kind of like a request form, like requesting time in the gymnasium or something, or equipment checkout or anything like that, and requires administrator sign off, you're going to enable this admin sign off and then enter in the administrator email here so that they'll be sent an email where they can either approve or deny the request. Okay, this starting date and ending date here pertain to when this form will actually be pushed up live and then when this form will actually be archived or will no longer be available. So this is primarily used for like prom nominations. If it's like they have a set amount of time to fill out the form, then you could just specify that with these fields. In the form header, this is where you denote kind of text before the form has actually begun. So I'll just say this is the form header, and then we could say like please fill out all fields denoted with and we'll say an asterisk there. And in this form footer, we can say something like, this is the form footer. Uh, please be sure that all form fields are filled in. Okay, and lastly, we have a form submit response. So whenever that submit button is hit, this is what we'll be saying to them. I think by default, it's like a thank you for submitting, but we can say, we can customize our own message and say, thanks for submitting. Uh, your form has been sent. And you'll notice in all these form submit and form footer, etc., we have the editor that we see in the page editor. So we can add things like images, links, iframes, just about anything we can add on a basic content page, we can add into this form footer and form submit response. Okay, and lastly, we can actually change what the form submit button says. So if normally it says submit form, we can just say submit, or we can just say request or enroll volunteer as another option. I like to just say submit though. Okay, so everything we've just gone over is actually the form details. And so we're going to want to go all the way back to the top, and we see this save and keep editing, which will just save everything here and keep us on this edit form details page. We can click save and move on to actually filling out the form and actually putting up all the questions that we'll be asking. We can say return to form to actually take us back to this my forms, or we can say preview to see what the form looks like at the moment. So I'll just say preview. Okay, so that's currently what the form looks like, just new form and submit form, only because I haven't saved it yet. But I'll exit out and click save and keep editing. And then I'll say preview. Okay, so now you'll see this is the form header. Please fill out all fields denoted with an asterisk, form footer, and there's that title that we added there. And when we click submit, nothing's happening, probably because it's not live yet, but that's fine. We'll just click save. Okay, so now we have this actual form creator where we have the title, there's that form header, there's that form footer, and now we have this option to create a new section. And so the important thing here is that you note that a section pretty much denotes a list of questions. So here we can say, we click create new section, and we have this option to enter in a title. I like to just say general to start off. And then we can say a description. So we can say something like, this section denotes general information. Okay, then click save. Okay, so let's preview that, how that looks. Now we have this general, and this section denotes general information. But now let's create a new question underneath this general section, and we'll just say first name, give a description like please enter your first name or something. And you don't have to enter in stuff like this, it's all optional. Okay, now this bottom part is actually very important. This denotes how this particular field is handled. So we have a field type. This is a text capture denoting that it's actually just going to be a simple text box that we can enter into. But we also have things like instructional section, which is no fields. This just tells them to do something. We have date selector, where they can actually choose a date. We have text capture, where we can enter in a certain form of text. Then we have choices, either single choice or multiple choice. This is stuff like drop downs, radio buttons, checkboxes. And lastly, we have PayPal fields like donations and purchase fields. We'll just say text capture because we're just asking for a name. Then we have text style. So is this a single line text capture or a multiple line text capture? And that just kind of denotes how large the field is going to be. Next is validation. So when they click submit, every one of these validations will be hit, and make sure that the fields have the correct format. So we can say it's just simple text, or if this field has to have a number in it, or has to be only numbered, excuse me. If this field has to be money values, like it's gonna look through this field and look for that decimal point. If this field has to contain an email address, or if this field has to contain a phone number. So we're just gonna say text there, and then this make field width smaller just denotes that this field is smaller. So if it has if you're only expecting a short answer to this question, we can just denote that, and it'll actually make the field width smaller. Next is this field is optional. So this is for fields that aren't really required. So we can enter in this, and then this form can be submitted without entering in a first name. And then last part of this is a custom validation notice, where we can actually customize what message the user receives whenever they fail this validation. So if this were a number, we can, and then they enter a text, like a bunch of, if they enter in a word or something, we can say, please enter a number. Or if they enter in like a negative number, we can say, please enter a number greater than 0, or something like that. But by default, it says something like invalid field or something like that. So after we make a change here, It's important that we hit this update and save. So I'll show you. Click single choice and click update and save. Okay, so now this bottom part has changed a bit. Now it has display type if it's a radio button or a drop down, and we can have this option to add new options to this. So I'll go over that later, but I'll just say text capture, and then that's not good there. Update and save, and then I'll click save. Okay, so now if I preview and share, we have this option for a first name, and we can enter in something just Alex. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't submit yet because it's not live. Okay. Okay, so we can continue, and we can say last name, and let's not say anything for the description. Not optional. It's a single line that has text validation. Update and save, and then save it. Okay, so now we have first name and then last name, and there's no description under last name. There's no please enter your last name because I didn't add a description for that particular question. Okay, and then last part of general that we want to add, let's just say there's email address, that's fine. And no description there. It's going to be a text capture with a single line. And we're going to say this needs an email address, and this is optional. And we'll say please enter a valid email address for the custom validation notice. So I'll say update and save, and then save that. So now we have first name, last name, and email address, and you'll see that this email address has an optional kind of tag underneath it because I labeled it as optional. Well, let's go ahead and create a new section, and instead of general, let's say something like, um, let's say like details, and we'll just say save there, and then we'll create a new question, and we'll say the title will say detailed description. And moving down, we'll say, please give a detailed description of what happened. And so this is going to be a text capture, and we'll say a multiple line, update and save, and then save that. So now we have this detail section with a detailed description. And then we'll create a new question and say date of incident. And then we'll say a date selector, update and save. So anytime you change that field type, you want to click update and save. And then we'll want to click save. Okay, so now we have date of incident, and it opens up this date selector. Okay, so that's kind of how the form creator works. We can just keep going on and on and on, creating more and more questions and sections. I'll go over creating multiple choice. So multiple choices, and we'll say this is a single choice one, update and save, and we'll create a drop down, update that, and we'll just start creating some more options there. We'll say like option A, option B, and then include an other text field allows user input. We'll just allow the user, let's say the choice that they're looking for isn't part of this drop down. So we'll include an other text field so that they can enter whatever it is that they're actually looking for. So we'll click save, preview and share. So now we have this multiple choice where we can say option A, option B, or other. And then we can enter in that other field here. Okay, and then let's see the multiple choice. What does that look like? That is either checkboxes or list boxes. So we can say like, oh boy, what did you see? And then we can include new options, knife, gun, say drugs, thievery. I'm just thinking of random tip-offs off the top of my head. Update and save, and then save it. So now if I preview and share, let's see, we have this kind of check boxes that we can choose. Knife, gun, drugs, thievery. Okay, so that's kind of how the form creator works. And then after you have it already all filled out there, let me just unpublish that. So after this is all filled out, we can click publish. Okay, and then we're going to hit this preview and share again. And then underneath sharing options, this is the actual URL of the form. And then this is if we want to place it within a text box. So we're going to take this end part of the URL. We're going to copy that. And let's say we want to place that in the icon navigation. So we'll just add a new one. We'll just say form here. Paste that link there. And we'll just use that one there. Save all changes and close. So now in the icon navigation, we should have this form one. I'll click that, and it takes us to the form that we created. So I just want to see if, okay, and essentially that is the form creator.